Alright, so the Book of Boba Fett episode 6 is out, and it's a doozy, filled with cameos, filled with all kinds of neat stuff. If you haven't seen the episode yet, please don't be spoiled by me, because I am going to have spoilers in this video, so back away now, go watch the episode, come back, check out my review, and we'll talk about it. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Gerald, and I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, join as a channel member, or join on my Patreon page. The links are all in the description and on my main page. Also, leave a comment on the video, and at the end of my next video, I will highlight one comment that I deem worthy and give you a shout out, as I'm going to do at the end of this video. So stick around to see who the great comment was coming up. Alright, with that said, let's move on with today's review. Like I said, the episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett is out now, and it's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one for all Star Wars fans, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it was a bad story. This is going to be a kind of different review for me because I'm not used to pointing out flaws, but at the same time, there are a lot of positives. There are some flaws, but there are a lot of positives. So stick around for all that. Don't miss it. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll start off with the negatives because I do want to end this video on a high note. I don't want this entire video to be about negatives because there are a lot more positives than there are negatives. The first negative being, and please, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen it, go away, come back later. The first negative being is that there is way too much Luke Skywalker. I'm sorry, I know there are a lot of Luke Skywalker fans out there and you guys love the guy. And it's not that I'm not a Luke Skywalker fan. It just seems disjointed. It doesn't seem like that arc belongs in this story. I know Luke training Grogu was supposed to be an homage to Luke being trained by Yoda. I mean, threw him on his back and everything, went running through the woods. But it just went on too long. 30 minutes of Luke Skywalker in a show called The Book of Boba Fett. And I know how Dave Filoni does things. I understand how he creates. He has these side stories and all that he's had in all of his animated series. The difference in this and the animated series had 20 plus episodes per season. This has 7 episodes for what we might only know as the entire series. So why take 30 minutes of a 45-minute episode and dedicate it to Luke Skywalker? Other than fan service, that's the only thing I can see. Now, there were a lot of cameos, and probably too much for my liking. Let's see, we saw Ahsoka, R2-D2, Luke Skywalker, Cad Bane, Cobb Vanth, and I'm sure there were a couple more that I'm missing out on here. But of all those cameos, the only ones that really felt in place was Cad Bane and Cobb Vanth. They definitely have a need to be in this story. Maybe not a need, but they have a reason to be in this story. Cad Bane being an old enemy and mentor of Boba Fett. Cobb Vanth being a guy who's on Tatooine, sheriffing a town on Tatooine, and the Pikes will bleed over into that. So Cobb Vanth has a reason to be there. Cad Bane being an enforcer of the Pikes, making sure that Cobb Vanth stays in line after his little scuffle with the Pikes and their ice cream maker. It really did make sense to have Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane in there just to deal with that part of it. And I predicted a long time ago that Cobb Vanth would be in the Book of Boba Fett and even join in with Boba Fett. Now, with him being shot, we don't know how serious his injury is. It looked like he got clipped in the shoulder, but his poor deputy just took 5 to the chest. There's no coming back from that one. I don't think there's a back-to-tank strong enough to pull that guy out. Now, those are the negatives. And like I said, there aren't many of them. But here's for the positives. We got a flashback to the Clone Wars, the 501st attacking the Jedi Temple in Coruscant. Amazing. I was not expecting that. And normally I wouldn't feel like that would belong in here. But a lot of the Clone Wars is connected to Boba Fett. These are clones of Jango Fett attacking the Jedi Temple. It makes sense. Boba Fett being a clone, these clones attacking the Jedi Temple. Now, a tiny little Jedi has to make a decision whether he's going to stay in Jedi training or put on the chainmail of a Mandalorian and go rejoin his adopted father who is helping a clone. Now, we don't know if Grogu ever saw the face of a clone, but we do we can be for certain that he's heard the voice of a clone. So maybe there's going to be some PTSD in there. I don't know. Just a thought. And for more positives, the war seems like it's building up for an episode that didn't have much Boba Fett or Fennec Shand in it at all. At least we got about a 15-second screenshot of Boba Fett looking at Din Djarin. Din Djarin is joining in the cause, and he's also recruiting from Cobb Vanth and his village. As soon as Din Djarin left, Cad Bane shows up, and it's an amazing shot of him showing up, walking through the desert, almost like the good, the bad, and the ugly, just coming right up slowly. Bam, there he is. It took me a minute to realize it was him. I was doing the watch party while watching it on my phone because I couldn't get it to load on my PC. So it was tiny. I had a tiny little screen, and I couldn't make out who was walking in the desert, but I should have figured it out right away. But it wasn't until he got a little bit closer that I could see the brim of his hat, and I was like, oh my God, there he is. It's Cad Bane. Hell yeah, let's go. Cad Bane shows up, little shootout, not a shootout, a duel between him and Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth gets wounded, the deputy gets killed. Not sorry to see that happen. The deputy was kind of a loudmouth and was an annoying character anyway, but I don't know, people don't deserve to die, especially not by Cad Bane's hands, but it did show that Cad Bane is still just as ruthless as he was during the Clone Wars. Just as ruthless as he was during the Bad Batch. So it's good to see his character has not changed at all. But this did feel like a Dave Filoni character-heavy episode. A lot of Dave Filoni characters. We got Ahsoka, Cad Bane. I named them all before. Some Order 66 stuff. Just felt, and you can tell Dave Filoni directed it. And it's not a bad episode. The story's great. Don't get me wrong. The story in this is great. I just feel like it was out of place. It should have either been in the Ahsoka series. It could have been flashbacks from Grogu back into the Mandalorian series, or make a Luke Skywalker spinoff and talk about the training. That would have all worked out great. And this isn't anything against Luke Skywalker. It's just, it didn't feel like it was in the right place. I'm usually pretty positive about Star Wars, and I try to stay positive about everything Star Wars, but that 30 minutes of Luke Skywalker just had me a little on edge. But it wasn't bad. I'm not going to say it was bad. It's my least favorite episode, but it's not a bad episode. Hopefully the last episode, number 7, really beefs it up and really, drives it home. I'm sure this is going to bleed over into the Mandalorian Season 3 and even the Ahsoka series. I think, like I said before in other videos, these are all going to be intertwined. They're all going to be connected. And there's going to be episodes where each character gets their own little fill. Ahsoka got hers in this one. Din Djarin got his in the last one. And we know those are 2 series that are being worked on. So be patient with it. I'm trying to be patient myself. And we'll get through this, I promise. And the last episode is going to be amazing. And if you know me, and most of you do know me pretty well, then you'll know I'll probably be doing a breakdown video of what some scenes meant and where their influences came from and that sort of thing. That won't be till later this afternoon sometime after I watch the episode a couple more times, just to try to get a better feel for it. Now, a couple things that I did notice in this episode that were awesome was the Jawa Sandcrawler had a giant crate dragon as a hood ornament sitting right on top of it. I don't know how they got it up there, but it was cool. I just thought it was really neat to show that. And then while they were in the cantina in Freetown / Mos Pelgo, the rib cage of that crate dragon decorated the inside of it, and that was pretty neat to see. So yeah, there are a lot of positives to take out of this show. This episode was not all negative. I know when I was doing my watch party, I overreacted a little bit, and I kind of freaked out when Luke showed up because I really didn't want to see him in this series. But, it being what it is, he did, and I'm okay with it, I guess. Just not okay with how long he was in it. But the Cad Bane stuff and the Cobb Vanth stuff really drove it home for me. And we can probably get a good guess at what's going to be coming. All right, so at this time, I want to take the highlighted comment from the last video. This comment just came out 10 minutes ago, and please forgive me if I butcher your name. Narvis Soam, and Narvis Soam says, "This is the way." Absolutely. This is the way. And I couldn't have said it better, and it pretty much wraps up all my sentiments. This is the way, and this is the way it's going to be. Either we get on board with it or we just stop watching it. And I'm on board with it. So thank you, Narva. So I needed to see that. I really did. So, yes, this is the way. So, everybody, leave a comment, and I will pick one of your comments to highlight at the end of my next video. Because that's what I do for you guys. You guys take the time to comment. The least I can do is show one of you love for it. I'd like to show all of you love for it, but there are a lot of comments to go through. And I apologize if I have not answered all of your comments. I do try to get to them the best I can. I do read them. Just as soon as I read one, there's 5 more that pop up. So I try to at least get everybody read. All right. Well, that's Gerald signing off. Until next time, wishing you all health and happiness. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.